Hi guys, it's ASBYT and welcome back to a brand new video. And today's video, so we've got the all new Fire TV dongle versus the old Fire TV box. And I'm going to be comparing both of them together and I'm going to be telling you which one I think is necessarily better for you. If you are interested in purchasing any of these two devices after watching this review, I will leave everything listed below so you can go through and do that. Remember to subscribe to the channel and hit that little notification bell if you're new and want to be notified every time I post a new video. Also, if you are interested in any of the best and latest deals on devices, whether that be smartphones, Android boxes, tablets, laptops and PCs, etc., and also some great deals on some of the best VPNs, please check out the video description below. All the information will be left there. Right, so first of all, we're of course going to look at the difference in size. And as you can see on here, on the top you have the new Fire TV, underneath you have the second gen Fire TV box, and if we just turn the weird diamond shape around, you will of course see that it pretty much is about a third of the size. So in terms of portability, this is going to be much better for you than of course this big chunky thing. In terms of connecting this to your TV, you would of course just use the attached HDMI there. That doesn't come off, that stays on. Whereas of course with the Fire TV box, you will need an HDMI that plugs into the back of here and then into your TV. So you'd think that this would be far more portable because there's no cables, you kind of just plug it in. But for me, you'd be wrong because, as you can see on there, you've got a micro USB charging port there. You have to have a cable already attached to this, plugging into a power socket. So you're still going to have cables, so it doesn't really solve a problem there. Now that is the only port on this device, so as you can see there's nothing on here, no SD card slot, no Ethernet port. Of course you can buy an adapter, but you shouldn't have to. There's no USB port either. And of course these are all problems that are solved if you have one of these, because you have a HDMI port there, you have your Ethernet port there, you've got your micro SD card slot there, and you have a USB port here. So you can have expandable storage on the Fire TV second gen box. You can't on this. You can of course plug in a wireless remote, for example, in this here. You can use a Bluetooth remote with both, so that would potentially solve the problem there. But if you want the options of a wireless or a Bluetooth, then of course that's only available using this. And of course, like I mentioned, the Ethernet port is here, which the new Fire TV third gen doesn't have. No Ethernet port. You would have to buy like a third-party adapter for it, which potentially is, I believe, on the market now, but if not, it's probably going to be fairly soon, I would imagine. But it should still, for me, be an option on this. They're made of a similar sort of material. Right, so we're now going to compare some of the hardcore specs between the old Fire TV box and the new. I'm going to call the new one a box, even though it's kind of a dongle, but anyway. This dongle here does actually come in lighter than, of course, this Fire TV box. And we should have some grams available jumping up on the screen for you right now to show you the difference. Then we're on to the processor. So the new processor is the Amlogic S905Z quad-core up to 1.5 GHz and ARM 4x CA53 at 1.5 GHz as well. Whereas the processor on the old one was the MediaTek quad-core up to 2 GHz, dual-core at 2 GHz and dual-core at 1.6. The GPU on the new one is the Mali 450 MP3, and the GPU on the old Fire TV was the Power VR GX6250. The Bluetooth on the new one is 4.2, on the old is 4.1. So the new one hasn't got 5, which of course would be more beneficial than just the upgrade by 0.1, but it is nevertheless slightly newer. Cloud storage is the same for both. It is free for all Amazon content. The output resolution on the old versus new, this is one of the main reasons why a lot of people might want to jump to the new one. They both do 4K, 1080 and 720, but the old one only does up to 30 frames a second, whereas the new one has 4K up to 60 frames a second. And running alongside that in terms of media streaming, in terms of audio, of course, the new one has this Dolby Atmos, whereas the old one only has Dolby Audio. But again, as we talked about, the actual content available to actually take advantage of that Dolby to take advantage of that Dolby Atmos is fairly limited. So they are some of the main differences between the two in terms of hardcore specs. Now benchmarks, of course I did do a full review on this Fire TV a couple of days ago. If you wanted to go and check that out, I will leave that linked here. I talked about the benchmarks. This benchmarks in the 30,000s, whereas this one of course comes in the 70,000s. So in terms of raw benchmarks, you're going to get a better performance from this one than you are with this one. I know this one's newer, but they're going for a mid-range product than, of course, the top-end product. But, of course, many people refer to this as the third gen, this the second gen, and that's going to be confusing for a lot of people, I think. Because people are going to naturally expect that this is going to have a better performance than this. So we talked about raw benchmarks. We are, in actual practice and in actual use, I have actually found that if you are, just going into certain apps once and doing lots of multitasking, but just kind of going in once, this one is going to perform better than this one. However, I have found that if you are reloading apps that have already been opened in the background kind of thing, this one seems, it may just be me, this one seems to actually deal with that slightly better. So actually over a longer period, and if you're going in and out of apps constantly, this one is a actually slightly quicker performer than this one. But that is personally just kind of how I feel, as opposed to having any hard-earned proof. Hard-earned proof? Is that a thing? Hard-earned proof. I'm just going to say no proof. There's no proof. I will hopefully do more testing so that you can actually see maybe like a speed test, for example, to show the difference, but that's kind of just how I feel at the moment. Of course, we're on to price. This one comes in at $70, £70, $69.99, whereas this one comes in at around $74.99, so £75. So you are spending a little bit more on this, but only fractional, £5 more compared to this one. So the newer one's cheaper, but again, in terms of performance, that's not that much to pay more for this, if you can find it. Now, of course, we are led to believe they are bringing out another new product, kind of like a Cube, which is going to go right in at the top end and compete with this, and I would imagine will be better than this. This one, for me, at this moment in time, is addressing a market which is in between the Fire TV Stick. Let's get this one out. I've got too many Amazon products. So you've got the Fire TV Stick, then you've got the dongle, and then you've got the Fire TV. So they are the three products that kind of are part of this family at the moment. A lot of places are beginning to stop selling this, but of course they are there. I will be doing a full review on the comparison between the new dongle, too much stuff, the new dongle, and of course the Fire Stick. But at this moment in time, this one is trying to address the mid-range. But you know, if you want something that's better than the Fire Stick, but not as good as this, then that's kind of where it's at. The question is there a market for that at the moment? You know, for the sake of £5, would you not just try and get one of these? I don't know. In terms of raw benchmarks, it would suggest that this is a far better product than the actual dongle. And actually, this is really more of a competitor with the Xiaomi Mi Box, which in terms of benchmarks, they come in pretty similar in the 30,000s. Both very nice usable interfaces compared to your standard Android TV boxes. One's kind of Android TV. This one is Fire OS based on Android. So they are, you know, they have subtle differences, but they are in that sort of market. It's only marginally better than the Fire Stick in terms of benchmarks. There are some other differences, which of course I will go into in the full review of the Fire Stick versus the new Fire TV dongle. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comment section below what you think about these two products. Whether you would spend your $70 pounds on this, or whether you'd spend an extra £5 rupees on this one, or would you of course opt for the cheaper Fire Stick, which is less in performance than these two, but of course it is, like I said, cheaper. I may actually even do a comparison between this and the Xiaomi Mi Box as well, just again so you guys can get a good idea. I am running my own series on the best kind of Android TV boxes around at the moment, which I will leave linked here. It'll be a playlist of all the different products that I've reviewed, but in there are lots of different Android TV box reviews. Again, in terms of benchmarks, etc., you can see those products compared to this, compared to this, compared to the Xiaomi Mi Box, which I'll add benchmarks to that series as well in my next video. But yeah, like and share if you did enjoy this video and found it helpful. Subscribe and hit that little notification bell next to it if you want to be notified every time I post a video. And I'll see you in the next one. Say ASBYT, peace out. So we've got the all-new Amazon Fire TV versus the Amazon Fire TV Stick. The question is, which one's going to be good for you? Internal storage is exactly the same. Both have 8 GB. I would expect to have seen more on the new Fire TV, but it's the same. Hi guys, it's ASBYT and welcome back to a brand new video. In today's video, we have a product which has just dropped officially today, and I've managed to get my hands on it, and of course you've seen the title. It is the all new Amazon Fire TV.